Dire team ban. Radiant team pick.
Hello. I've stuffed it up. Hello guys and girls, welcome to the Canberra Dota 2 LAN. I am only Logic, I am looking forward to this game. I am casting here with Cold Blood. How do you do?
Fantastic, Logic. I'm really looking forward to this. We've had a couple of crashes and whatnot already, which is very, very typical of LANs. A Windows First Blood was called. So we'll have to see who can pick up the second blood in our first game here in the Canberra Dota 2 tournament. We'll go ahead and jump into the hero select. This game will be between BoysBoys and Rat Doto.
I'm really looking forward to this game. BoysBoys have already shown how good they are at winning in the last game. They played the first game between, who was it? It was... Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. I cast it yesterday. There you go. But either way, BoysBoys showed how much pressure they can put into the game, how much effort they can have, how much force they can put in, just their pushing power, how strong their pushing power is, how strong their team fight is, and there's really nothing that really sets BoysBoys back, really.
Yeah, so taking out the Furion and the Faceless Void have Rat Doto. Interesting that their name is Rat Doto, and they're the ones who elect to remove the Furion. They, well, you say the pushing of BoysBoys is good. I guess that's a respect band towards that. Doom and Lycan are the bans out for BoysBoys. So Lycan and Furion taken out of the pool means that these teams do not want that split pushing to come in. They want those big fights, which is indicative of their picks. And Rashta, the Shadow Shaman, is the first pick.
Yeah, it's been working well. I've just had a little bit of settings.
Banning someone now.
Yep, no problem. Okay, so the next two picks for our BoysBoys team was Skywrath Mage and Razor. We saw a fantastic Razor played yesterday by the Amiga Squadron, got very far ahead early on, leveled up that static link, and was whipping people into submission with very heavily, very heavy, strong auto attacks. Skywrath Mage, very strong support at the moment. He can go mid, but we will expect this one to go into the support role. Likes to be comboed with the CC. And then Tidehunter was the second pick for Rat Doto, so I'm wondering if we're going to see a Rubik here, Logic.
Yeah, I'd actually love to see a Rubik. I love seeing Rubik being played in all of these games, but the Rubik has been banned out on the side of Rat Doto there, along with the Ancient Apparition. But you can see that Rat Doto, they've basically picked the two things that BoysBoys are very, very good at doing. Tidehunter is in the team fight. Tidehunter is all in the team fight. That Ravage is a huge area of effect lockdown, and even though it's only a lockdown for the 2.7 seconds, even though it's only a lockdown for 3 seconds, it can really disrupt and change a team fight. Shadow Shaman, Death Prophet, they're very indicative of heavy pushing, and I think we're going to see towers fall within the first, probably easily within the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense. Tinker and Brewmaster were the bans out from BoysBoys, and they've gone with the Mirana and the Wraith King, so a lot of CC coming in for that burst of the Skywrath Mage. Mystic Flare does stupid amounts of damage if his target stays within the area, which of course Wraith King and Mirana are very capable of doing. Yeah, and like you say, the push potential of Rat Doto is getting higher and higher. They could still pick another support who is good at the pushing. Maybe. Yep. I'm worried for BoysBoys at the moment because their wave clear is not very strong at the moment. They might be looking for a Ember Spirit carry if they were to go, say, the Mirana offlane or the Skywrath offlane, Razor mid, and get the Ember in a safe lane and get him to that level where he can wipe out the creep waves. Jakiro has been locked in, so the sieging potential of Rat Doto is so strong.
They really want to melt down towers, and it's pretty obvious here with the Jakiro pick as well, and with the counter push hero bans. We can see that Rubik's an alright counter pusher. Ancient Apparition is known to be quite a strong counter pusher because of his very low cooldown on his ultimate, and BoysBoys just don't have any counter pushers, and they've just banned out what I think is a strong counter pusher in terms of Weaver. But it looks like they've got a lot of single hero lockdown. I'm talking about Marana Arrow into Skywrath Mage ultimate, or Wraith King into Mystic Flare, or Razor just stealing so much damage with the help of Marana. And I mean, if they are able to get picked up, if Rat Doto are at any time away from their team, because Jakiro, even though he's one of the tankier supports, he's quite squishy. He's a support, and all supports are squishy. Shadow Shaman, very squishy. Shadow Shaman will die probably solo to Marana if she gets a tiny little bit of farm. Tidehunter, not so much. Death Prophet as well. Early game, very squishy, till she gets her Bloodstone. If she's denied that Bloodstone, she's going to be taken down very, very easily. So BoysBoys might have the upper hand if they're able to utilize this lineup.
Yeah, the Death Prophet, until she gets more points than the Witchcraft, is fairly slow as well. And you're absolutely correct. BoysBoys, they need to engage fights here, and they've got the means to do that in several ways. I love the fights that are initiated by Wraith King running and dying. It's so powerful, and it is fantastic to watch. And then, like you say, the arrow into the Mystic Flare is certainly going to turn a fight into the BoysBoys' favor. I'd like to see some kind of pick here with some counter push. The Invoker was a fantastic option if it were open with the Wex Quas build, or Quas Wex. There's the Kunks coming out, Logic. We're going to have some pirate action. And that is as much engage as you can get in your carry.
Yeah, definitely. Kunkka brings with him the X marks the spot ability, which just adds for lockdown. I mean, X into Arrow, into Mystic Flare, into Wraith Kings. What is it? Soul Blast, Wraith Fire Blast. It's just huge. And the Viper comes out from Rat Doto, so not exactly
heroes. So we're probably going to see that Viper or the Death Cross in the mid. We could see either one of them in the off lane as well. Even combo with the Tidehunter. Tidehunter could be in the off lane. We could be seeing dual lanes here. I think dual lanes would be awfully interesting on the side of BoysBoys. The lineup looks like it's a pretty simple Marana, Skywrath Mage, Razor tri-lane, maybe with Wraith King Runner in the off-lane Kunkka mid by the looks of it. But Kunkka's not going to have very much trouble against that.
Prepare for battle!
Yeah, no, Kunk's probably one of the best to deal with the Viper in the mid. Very difficult to deal with, honestly. We may see... We could see the Razor in the mid. We'll have to see how they go. But the duo lanes you point out is a definite possibility here. Just sorting out some issues here, ladies and gents, as we try and fix all the things that are going wrong. So we'll go through the teams while we have the time. Representing BoysBoys in our first game of the Canberra Dota 2 tournament, we have Ryland 26 as the Kunks. Our Marana will be played by Elks. The Skywrath Mage will be Video James, who was one of the rascals that was stopping us getting into the game earlier on. X4 will be the Wraith King, and rounding out the BoysBoys on the Razor, it will be JJH.
Yeah. BoysBoys have a very strong lineup here. You can see they're already moving up into the top lane. Where's the smoke? Who's got the smoke? Yeah, there's the smoke been cast. And let's just take a look at what Rat Doto's lineup is. We've got Ratarino, Josh Kentarino, or Josh. We've got him on the Tidehunter, and they're moving up as well. Viper is being played by Luke. Dan is on the support Shadow Shaman, on the Death Prophet is John, and finally on the Jakiro is Ben Marino. And they're just moving into the jungle, but unfortunately both teams are moving into the respective enemy team's jungle, and that's just going to result in a ton of nothing happening in the start of this game here. Both teams might end up meeting in the midfield, but I highly doubt it, as they'll probably want to go down these paths here, which, as you can see, they are doing to get through the end of those those games here.
So both teams completely mirroring each other just to get some early vision down to deny both the easy camps of each other. They want to try and disrupt the supports getting any kind of income and XP, which is definitely fair enough. The supports of both teams can influence the game tremendously if they get a good start. Dan Areno has picked up the invisibility rune at the top part of the river, and they'll soon find out that what they've done to the enemy here by blocking the easy camp has been done to them as well. So we've got a safe lane Viper here with the Rasta and the Jakiro. And yeah, you were right, Logic. It will be a duo lane. Oh no, sorry, tri-lane. An aggressive tri-lane.
Oh, that's going to be very interesting. Yeah, solo, an aggressive tri-lane coming out from BoysBoys, which we know that they're good for, because as I say, their team fight is very strong. The worry is going to be the Invis Shadow Shaman that actually might even pick out Video James, who's way too far forward. Will he be able to? He does reach him. So the stun's coming out. Unfortunately, there's a stack on the stun there. Video James is able to just walk away from that. A lot of harassers are going to come out from the Viper. But wait, if Viper's top, who's mid? Mid is going to be Death Prophet against Rylan. That's going to be very, very tricky for Rylan, whereas it might have been even easier if it was to the Viper.
Okay, so it's going to be a bit tricky for Rylan starting off. He's almost got enough for his bottle. John Areno does have his out on the Lieutenant Squawkins from the International. At the top lane, we will have the arrow landing onto Ben. Gets comboed with the Wraithfire Blast, but a nice shackle onto the Marana. Will it possibly save the Jakiro? No, the last blast out of the Skywrath Mage, the Arcane Bolt, slowly heads towards poor Ben Areno on Jakiro and does take him down. You pointed out how squishy the supports are early on, Logic, and that has certainly come out. This tri-lane working fantastically for BoysBoys thus far.
Yeah, Wraith King getting very, very close to dying there, but ultimately living purely because Viper's damage is just not enough in the early game, especially in a tri-lane, which is why he sees a lot more mid-play than he sees as a carry. Happening in the mid lane, Kunkka is by far top on last hits, and I'm actually quite used to saying Rylan is top on the last hits chart. Death Prophet, although not following too far back, and the best thing is that the rune control means that the Death Prophet is going to get the double damage rune nice and early. Meaning that the Death Prophet might actually even be able to get a kill, having already a point in the Witchcraft there, seeing as Kunkka does not have his boots yet.
Bunch of pulling going on at the top as the supports vie for the XP and gold of the Centaurs. The DD rune, like you point out on John Arena, gives him massive kill potential. Doesn't have any kind of boots, and DP very, very slow early on. But with all the stats that Rylan has, he should be okay. He's going to use the Torrent to try and get a bit of CS. At the bottom lane, we're seeing the Tidehunter. He's actually doing a lot better than I would have imagined. Josh, we'll leave it at that. I mean, it is so difficult to go against Razor with that static link, and he's still managing to keep up on the farm fairly well. Razor's going to get his mech fairly early, but Tidehunter, he's well on the way to a blink for himself, or maybe an arcane boot. So all around the map going very well for both teams. It's only the top lane that's been skewed just a bit, and even then, the farm is in Marana's favor.
Yeah, Marana's actually doing a really good job of farming there in that offensive tri-lane, and we're going to see Marana actually move, maybe even get a kill on the mid lane there. The reason that Tidehunter is so strong in that lane is because of that anchor smash, and you can see that Razor, even with all of its damage stolen, can't really deal much harass damage, so he's going to get easier last hits, but that's basically about it, and that doesn't really push Tidehunter out for very long at all. Marana, is that an arrow going out? No, not an arrow going out yet, so now we can see that an arrow is going to come in, and their combo is going to hit on Josh. Josh is going to take a lot of damage in the back here, and he is going to go down mid lane. Rylan winning that mid lane and using up all of his bottle charges, and will he be able to get the bottle in the bottom lane? No, bottle not in the bottom lane. Bottle not on top. Who took the rune? I completely missed where the rune went.
I'm not sure. I wonder if it spawned from Marana.
Oh, there it is. Tidehunter has it in the bottom lane, pushing Razor out of lane.
Oh, fair enough. So the Kraken shell of the Josh Tidehunter is going to be definitely worth its weight in gold at the moment. Fantastic combo in the mid lane from BoysBoys there, stacking their CC perfectly as a bit of bottle crowing will be going on here. Will the Urn of Shadows come out from Ryland? He's got a tango shared with him. He's get his boots now. That'll help tremendously against that Crypt Swarm of the DP. Meanwhile, at the top lane, the arrow will end up missing, although Skywrath Mage already starting to chunk poor Viper Lucas.
Oh, we've got Shadow Shaman moving into the midfield. It looks like he wants to go for Rylan. Rylan might even get a kill on Radarino. Josh, though, we see Dan coming in, and that's definitely going to be a kill in the opposite direction. Good rotation there by the supports from Rat Doto.
Okay, so Rat, they put themselves on the board with a fantastic gank out of the Shadow Shaman. Doesn't actually have the Hex. I like saying at level 2 Shadow Shaman has access to 4 seconds for CC, but you were talking to me before the games about the burst of either shock. It is tremendous, and there we see it, the 200 damage at level 3. It is massive, as the stun will land onto Jakiro. Nice shackle onto the Skywrath Mage. Elks is underneath Ben here. Bunch of damage going back. The ice part out of Jakiro will stop the aggression. Elks going to get the burst of the Starstorm down there, and will end up taking down the Jakiro. 3-1 on the scoreboard. X4 will end up going down to the poison attack. He will indeed. That Nether Toxin is so strong. Double kill for Lucas on the Viper. That is why he is so strong in mid. That Nether Toxin allows you to chunk people down when they're at low health, and just like that logic, the score is equalized.
Just give me a quick moment. I'm just going to sort out my microphone settings here.
No problem. Alright, so let's have a look at the graph here, ladies and gents. 600 gold in BoysBoys' favour. A massive dip after that fight went sour for them. And XP is at the same. So BoysBoys, they've got the advantage at the moment. But they are against a... well, I mean, keeping a push side down, it helps a lot, because if they try to siege your tower, you can just engage on top of them with your increased XP and gold. As the farm is looking fairly even across the board as well. The supports are being kept down just a little bit because they've had to fight over the tower, fight over the camp so much. And there is the Smoke of Deceit picked up by our Shadow Shaman player. And he's going to use it to I think, to head mid for a gank logic.
Yeah, I think he's just used the Shadow Shaman for the bonus move speed. I'm not sure why, though. When a Smoke of Deceit costs 100, he could just get a TP for 50 extra and be there much quicker. It looks like he might want to be getting on JJH, but with the smoke coming in via the lane here, he's not going to be revealed until he gets right up to the creeps, and you can see that there's basically no difference here. JJH was running very, very quickly to that enemy lockdown, and he can be able to move right away from here. Even with the ultimate, I'm not worried for his health, and you see he's going to steal all of the damage. There's going to be a TP by VJ James. VJ James wants to come in and he wants to deal, and you can see, even with all of the ultimates used, even with all of the damage, JJH is still turning this around and wanting this fight to happen, but he decides not to go under tower. Very good communication there by BoysBoys. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, it looks like Death Prophet did go down to the double damage Kunkka.
Oh jeez, with the, what's his sword called? The Tidebringer, and then DD rune, there's not a lot you can do against that one, even going to get an Invis rune. Jakiro did fall at the top as well, just as the Shadow Shaman was reaching lane. So a couple of kills picked up by BoysBoys. Their engage comp looking better and better. How's the farm going? 40 to Razor, 31 to Kunks. But, the Death Prophet right up there with him. They got even the same deny. So mid lane very even apart from those couple of kills. But DP, as soon as she gets to around level 8, 9, or maybe even just level 11, she becomes very strong in the team fights. Exorcism hits like an absolute truck. I was going to say it'd be awesome with Eye of the Storm.
Oh, in the mid lane, Radarino's going to go absolutely smashed.
Oh, the top lane
by Rylan, and the top lane they're going to go down as well.
So the lack of CC there, Shadow Shaman was almost there to stop the TP. X4 gets out, Kunks gets a kill in the mid. Fantastic play from BoysBoys, but are we going to see the push start in logic there? The Exorcism comes out.
Yeah, this is where the game goes into the mid-game stage, and as I said, 10 minutes, fortification has already come out, and I reckon the tower's going to be pushed before that 10-minute mark. We'll see Elks thinking about whether to throw in an arrow. Kunkka does not have any of his spells though, which is going to make it a little bit trickier for him. His Tidebringer might end up dealing a lot of damage. He does end up getting the arrow, getting the Viper, and you can see the whole combo is going to come out. Viper's just going to melt He's just going to melt completely, and now they're going to go for Dan. Dan going down as well. Jakiro trying to save them, but not being able to. So that team fight not going well for Rat Doto.
Oh, okay, so well done by BoysBoys. Engage one might not be over yet. X marks the spot into the torrent, onto the DP, and she will get demolished where she stands. Denies coming out from Elks as well. The gold gets split around to 4 members. So there is a Rat Doto. Oh no, there was no Rat Doto war. They didn't know where Kunks was, and the invisibility rune was just icing on the cake for that. So I'm wondering if they should have waited for the Shadow Shaman ult before trying something like that, or was it an opportunistic tower push that just didn't work out for them?
Honestly, I think it's just that BoysBoys teamfight happens to be particularly strong, and they've picked a lineup that requires a lot of coordination. I mean, if you look at this lineup, you're basically relying on an arrow, or on a boat, or on a torrent, or on Mystic Flare to land. You're relying on all of these things, and BoysBoys have a very, very strong teamfight, which means that they can utilize this lineup to its greatest efficiency. Was the push incorrect? Absolutely not. They should be pushing down these towers. They should be putting pressure on BoysBoys. But BoysBoys are just responding to the pressure surprisingly well.
Yeah, they're doing a great job. Witchcraft has been maxed by John Arena. She wants to get away from Kunks rather than nuking him with the Crypt Swarm. No silence yet. Silence can be very handy against a bunch of the BoysBoys members. Reincarnation is almost available. And yeah, so Viper at the top. How's he going on the farm? 41. So the farm not doing nearly as bad for Rat Doto as you would imagine, and their pushing lineup will become stronger as it comes on. Looks like Yules is being worked on for John. How is Tide going on his Blink? He's gone for the Arcane Boot, so he needs another 1600 for his Blink Dagger, and then I think Rat Doto will be able to start forcing their own engages. Okay, apologies ladies and gents, we just need to fix some audio issues here.
XP graph showing 5,000 in favour of BoysBoys, as well as the gold well over 3,000 in favour of BoysBoys, but they're not sure why.
Okay, how are we going there, Logic? Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's great. It's perfect.
Fantastic, okay.
X4 got his hotkeys wrong. I'm sure he's going to blame that on his death or loss. Depending if any of those two happen. Okay, G, looks like both teams are ready to go, and we're going to kick off again. Razor doing really, really well on the last hits, just farming in that bottom lane, and we can see he's almost on his mech. He's literally 100 off of his mech, and the X marks the spot has been cast onto the Death Prophet. The full combo is going to hit. Look at the burst damage, just absolutely melting that Death Prophet.
Oh, okay, so there you go. TP, you pointed out how squishy she was. If she can't get the healing from Exorcism, she is going to die very quickly. Hero level is looking very troubling for Rat Doto. The engage power of BoysBoys and how far ahead they're getting means they're just going to be able to steamroll over them should a tower siege be started. This Kunks at level 11 getting, oh, he's about halfway to level 12 as well. Video James going to be, I think, buying his Arcane Boots. He's almost got the money for it. There he goes. TP coming into the mid to try and defend the tower. Ravage is available. Instant stun from the Wraith King will shut down that aggression. Mirana is at the top. She does have the Moonlight Shadow available, and she will be TPing to the mid. So, oh, here's the torrent coming in as well as the ship. Hits 2 members of Rat Doto. There's the Mystic Flare. The poor DP dying once again. Wraith King gets the kill with the Wraith Fire Blast. 2 for 0 thus far. Razor was not even with the team. There goes X-Master spot on Ryland just to get a bit of aggression down. Tidebringer used on the creeps to clear them out. There goes the first tower casualty against the pushing lineup of Rat Doto.
That was a perfect example of how reliant you are on torrent and boat hitting. That was a perfect example of how a team fight just went 100% in favour of BoysBoys purely because of that initial starting hit. Tidehunter's sitting in the trees. He wants to move out for a good ravage. There is a glyph available, and they've just used the glyph, but they're just waiting on this Tidehunter to move out and get a sweet ravage. BoysBoys know it. BoysBoys are sticking around. They want to play it very safe. It looks like they might even go all the way back.
Yeah, I like this, the backing off. They've got to respect the power of that Ravage. You've pointed out how strong it is. The mechanism is on the way for our Viper player. The Sentry Ward is down there, and now Tidehunter, is he going to get caught out to the side? There he goes, pops the Ravage, hits 4 members. Here's the Exorcism coming out. The Skywrath Mage will end up falling. The wards are down as well. 1 for 1 thus far. Rylan on a mega kill streak, and will pick up a second as well. The ward's doing a fair bit of damage, but the Razor is getting too tanky at this point. He already has the mechanism. X marks the spot used on Jakiro, pulls him back into the waiting arms of Kunks, but stolen by JJH. Arrow will hit the creeps, but it will not matter. Elks with the last auto attack. A full team wipe in exchange for a Skywrath Mage. And the tier 2 goes down.
That's just showing how BoysBoys have this.
Mad dudes, middle tower.
Yes, as you say, showing how the BoysBoys have fantastic team fight. There we go. I think I heard you.
Okay, got it now, yeah. Sorry about that, guys, microphone off. That just shows the team fight potential that BoysBoys have, and really it's gotten to a point where Rat Doto either need to get a really good team fight, which is possible but unlikely. 10,000 on the experience graph, 10,000 on the gold graph. Basically, it's coming down to how well Rat Doto might be able to rat.
Yeah, they need to get their Rat Doto on.
Yeah, or get good team fights. It's really coming down to those 2 options.
Okay, so how many cooldowns do they have? Absolutely none. They're going to use the Smoke of Deceit. They will try and make a pick, maybe try and pick a fight off at this bottom tier 1. Rylan, as at level 12, just about to hit level 13. He has the double damage rune. They've got to be so careful. He could wipe them out with that Tidebringer. Tower falling lower and lower. They're going to loop all the way around. Shadowblade now available for Rylan 26. It is in his stash though. Is this going to be an explosive fight? Logic. The Rat Doto guys, they've got to make this work.
They're gonna start in. They're gonna slide in here. You see X4 just turning it around. This is the beauty about BoysBoys. They're able to completely switch it around. X4 does end up going down, so the smoke game going in favor of Rat Doto. We can see that the Mirana ult has been cast to try and get Kunker out of there, but that's 2 really good kills. Both kills which earned a lot of gold. Well, relatively low gold. 263 and 281 gold, which will definitely help Rat Doto out of that position, especially if they can push this tower.
Okay, so they lose a T1 at top, make some really good picks though. They would have loved to get the Kunks there, and he's got his Shadowblade now, so he will be safer. But those 2 picks definitely came at an opportune time. Rylan, is he going to be throwing out the ship? He will indeed. It may hit the Tidehunter. He manages to dodge. Meanwhile, Razor going to be picking up the Shadow Shaman under the tower. Ravage comes out, hits all the members of BoysBoys as Jakiro throws out a last liquid fire as he goes down. And the Rat Doto guys are getting run down where they stand. X marks the spot into the torrent, onto the DP. Can Tidehunter get out of this one? Blink Dagger finished by the Wraith King. Mystic Flare comes out, and Mirana gets the last hit onto the Tidehunter. A 5-0 after they try to get something for their efforts in the bottom lane and pay for it dearly.
I'd like to point out that this team fight pretty much went entirely down to those drums. It was that tiny bit of extra mobility that helped out the entire team. And if it weren't for Rylan getting those bums before the Shadowblade, which he didn't do, I don't think they would have won that fight.
Yeah, that mobility, fantastic for running down the enemy team. Look how much disengage Rat Doto have. They've got the Ice Path and the Dual Breath, both very good at getting out. Ravage was used, and they, like you say, able to circumvent that with the drums. And now it looks like the team that has the Shadow Shaman will possibly be losing Roshan, but Rat Doto well on their way to try and contest this one, and they force BoysBoys to back out. So fantastic read by Rat Doto. The regen rune used on Kunks to get his health back after that Roshan attempt. Roshan down 2/3 of his health, and Rat Doto, they've got to be very, very careful here.
I'd like to mention the warding position here from BoysBoys. Absolutely amazing warding position. It means that they were able to see that Death Prophet come in, and they were able to get out of there very quickly. We can see Rat Doto want to push a tower. They need to push a tower. It's not a case of want anymore. They need to go down into the bottom lane and push out this tower and actually make things happen, start getting the gold and experience back in their favour. Shadow Shaman wards coming out. That tower's going to go down. It looks like, oh no, it wasn't dynamic. But JJH is going to chase this. The slope is going to come out onto Death Prophet. Death Prophet's going to come out. She's going to try and do as much damage as she can. but the mechanism might actually save him. John going down really easily. Meanwhile, up on the top, Ryland's getting himself a triple kill and making plays happen on the side of BoysBoys. I can't see this be anything else but GG.
Yeah, I think this may be all she wrote for this game. The Kunks is getting too far ahead. We're getting to that point where he can come out of Shadow Blade and wipe out an entire team in one swing of his sword. Tidehunter must be so angry that his arch nemesis Kunks is going. He's even got a pirate flag, and I think that's the magical sword. Hang on, let's have a look. What sword has he got? The Pirate Slayer's Cutlass. So he's not slaying very many pirates here. 13-1 and 7 on Ryland 26. He's well on the way to a Daedalus. We've even got the Maelstrom coming out of Elks on Marana just for some more pushing power. And Ben calling the close game.
Yeah, and when the supports start getting items that aren't, necessarily core items in terms of wards and boots. For example, you see that the Skywrath Mage already has a 4-staff, and that's a 20-minute 4-staff on a support Skywrath Mage, which is pretty big.
He scales off intelligence as well.
Invisibility.
So, yeah, just BoysBoys doing everything right, and Rat Doto not necessarily doing anything wrong, just not being able to do it as well as BoysBoys. You can see that the playstyles are very similar. BoysBoys going for a specifically teamfight-oriented build here, but we can see a little bit of pushing power with Marana, with Kunkka, even a little bit with Razor coming out there. But ultimately, it's just teamfight has been won by BoysBoys.
You've got to respect Rat Doto here, Logic, with how much there's continuing to try and make the plays happen with the smoke ganks, with pushing the enemy team off of Roshan, despite the fact that they're very far down in relative power level. Blink has been finished for the Tidehunter. Could this be the makings of a comeback? They are against a Shadow Blade Daedalus. Kunkka now, BKB probably going to be following after that. This Kunkka is so unbelievably scary. Level 16 to the highest level 10 on the Rat Doto's Death Prophet, and net worth he is over twice as rich as the Viper, who just now has finished his mechanism, whereas the BoysBoys one has been finished for quite a while on the Razor and is now working on the Aghanims for even more pushing. So the buildings of Rat Doto probably quivering in their boots at this point. With that, Aghanims, for those who are unaware, it may sit so Eye of the Storm strikes faster and it will hit buildings. As it looks like the... Yep, sorry?
Yeah, no, just the Aghanims upgrade.
Yeah, interesting on the Razor. So the last structure outside of Rat Doto's base now will be under siege. And is this a Roshan player? Rat Doto going to go, you take our base, we'll take the Roche. Certainly looks like they're going for it. They do have the Mass Serpent wards. No, it's not a double damage rune on the Viper. That was just phase boots. Roche has almost regened back to full health. But I think Rat Doto have realized they need to get back to the base. No, they're going to go straight for it. Gigantic bunny. Oh, not a bunny, sorry, a sheep. On the Roche, and now BoysBoys, do they know something is up? They've got the Tidehunter pushing in the bot. He does have his Blink and his Ravage. Oh, it's a bit of a base race here, Logic.
Yeah, BoysBoys must be aware that Rat Doto is doing something. I don't think they know or even care what they're doing. They're getting some really good pushes happening in the base here. No longer have a Serpent Ward, which means that he can't really have much of a big effect in the team fight. Roshan does go down, but to what extent in the top lane? A really nice stun there coming out by the hero there. And the Blink in, it gets more heroes fighting this dragon, but the mechanism basically nullifies it. Then moving in now onto that Shadow Shaman, trying to right click. The Jakiro has been poured out and he does go down. Next will be the Viper. X4 wants to get him. He does get the stun off, and Marana gets the kill, as well as on the Tidehunter. The only one alive is the Viper, and the Viper's going to come back shortly and be hit by the arrow as well. That's a full team wipe. 5-0 going in favour of BoysBoys there. GG WP to BoysBoys.
The retreat calls came out from Rat Doto, but the GG well played have been called, and that will be our game one here after some fantastic pirate play from the Kunks. and just all around solid play. I have to respect Rat Doto for their calls logic. They've got some kahunas. You can definitely give them that.
Oh, it looks like it has been disconnected. So to those watching in game, actually there's nobody watching in game now that I think about it. For those watching on Twitch, yeah, it was an absolutely amazing game. BoysBoys, as I said, Rat Doto didn't do anything wrong. BoysBoys just did everything